Welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson. This week, a combination you won't see anywhere else. On the left, progressive super attorney Gloria Allred. On the right, conservative icon Tomi Lahren, debating each other for the first time. Our issues include war with Iran. What comes next after the U.S. kills a top Iranian general? Was that appropriate? And the Weinstein case. Harvey Weinstein's criminal trial begins next week. Gloria Allred representing his accusers. Plus, Newsom versus Trump. California's governor and the president face off online, all in response to a Tomi Lahren tweet. And finally, our dancing queen is back. But will Tomi Lahren and Gloria Allred dance together? You have to stay tuned to find out. There's a tease. The Issue Is starts right now.
Broadcasting across California, California's only statewide political show. You're watching The Issue Is.
And welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson. We're so excited to launch across the state of California this week, and we're grateful for all of you, many of you watching us for the first time. We originally launched about a year and a half ago in Los Angeles, and we keep expanding. We interview some of the biggest newsmakers in politics, including the president himself, and virtually everyone who wants to be president. In fact, we've talked to every leading Democratic presidential candidate. Plus, we feature cabinet officials, celebrities, and leading California lawmakers. And we especially love unusual combinations of people from the left and the right that you don't see anywhere else. Plus, we like to have some fun. We play games, we play music, and we humanize our leaders. We found in those moments, they reveal themselves the most. And by the way, we love to dance. And you saw it right there. My main dance partner and our most frequent guest is Gloria Allred. She, of course, one of the most famous attorneys in the world. Gloria Allred, welcome back to The Issue Is.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Alex. Yeah. And congratulations on launching statewide. That is so cool.
Thank you. Thank you for all your support of our show. We're going to bring in Tomi Lahren in a second. We're going to talk about Iran in a second as well. But let's begin with the issue of the Harvey Weinstein case. You represent several of his accusers. The criminal trial about to begin next week. What are your expectations for this?
It's going to be a vigorous cross-examination by the defense. You know that Harvey Weinstein has what I feel is a small army of highly paid criminal defense attorneys who are just probably licking their chops, getting ready to try to engage in a very, very vigorous cross-examination of my clients. But I know they're going to tell their truth and be strong, and so I'm there to support them.
Part of what Weinstein has said, he just did an interview with the New York Post, which got some attention, and this is what he said. He said, I feel like the forgotten man. I made more movies directed by women, he said, and about women than any other filmmaker, and they're not talking about it. What do you make of those comments?
Well, his alleged conduct towards women or misconduct has not been forgotten. It's not about movies he made, any awards that he's won. It's about whether or not he raped and sexually assaulted women.
It was interesting when you were very involved in the Bill Cosby trial,
yes.
And when that started, all of a sudden he couldn't see and had to be helped in and looked very frail. And now we see Harvey Weinstein in a walker, looking frail as he goes into court.
He also looked frail as he was sitting there having his ice cream sundae the other day.
What do you make? Do you feel like that's a bit of an act?
I don't know whether it's real or not. I don't know if he really had back surgery or not. I don't know. But I'm not concerned with what his health is. He needs to show up and be accountable in a court of law. And, you know, this is the age of empowerment of women. And this is what we call the reckoning.
All right. We like to have a little bit of fun, as we just mentioned. We like to play some games. So one of the games we play is called the name game. This is where we say the name of some well-known people, and then you think of one word to describe them. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. So we begin with President Donald Trump.
Dangerous.
Hillary Clinton.
My shiro.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Sexual predator of underage girls.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Another shiro of mine. Long may she live.
Lisa Bloom.
My daughter, and I love her.
And finally, Tomi Lahren.
Can't wait to take her on The Issue Is with Alex.
Yes, there she is. She's ready for you. But
okay.
before
put on your boxing gloves.
Yeah. before we do that, though, we do play one other game called this is Personal Issues. This is where we get to know our guests a little bit better. We put 30 seconds up on the clock, and here we go. All right. So, what is your New Year's resolution?
Yet another dance with Elex. By the way, when you said you're going to have the dancing queen on, I wasn't sure whether you're referring to you or me.
Oh, well, there we go. I don't know where to take that. Eureka just launched their first In-N-Out. That's one of our new markets. What's your favorite fast food order?
French fries.
Who's your favorite actor or actress?
Meryl Streep.
Last thing you binge watched?
I want to also add Helen Hunt.
Okay.
Binge watched?
Yeah.
Homeland.
Homeland, a good one. All right. Well, we just mentioned this, the dancing thing. So in the past, Gloria was on our show, and she said the only way I'll come back is if you will dance with me. So here's some clips. Here we go. Here's some of her moves. She's got a signature move, which is really impressive. She likes to twirl me. She danced with some of our conservative guests. We even danced via satellite. So as we launch statewide, I think a larger audience gets to see your move. We got a little bit of Latin beat now for you. This is a new song. Will you dance with me, Gloria?
Why not? Thank you.
This is a little. You feel that? Just hear the Latin beat? Recently, California Governor Gavin Newsom and President Trump had a war of words on Twitter after the president quoted a tweet from my next guest. There it is, Tomi Lahren saying, quote, "Take accountability, Gavin. This is your state, and you and your Democratic cohorts created this mess. You can't blame the president forever. Step away from the hair gel and get to work." Tomi Lahren is a host on the Fox Nation. That's, of course, Fox News' streaming platform. You can watch her first thoughts, her final thoughts, her every thought, and special reports on foxnation.com. Tomi Lahren, welcome back to The Issue Is.
Good to be here.
Good to have
Thanks for
you here.
giving some love to the tweet. I thought it was one of my better ones. I'm pretty proud of it.
So what you were tweeting about in terms of the president was a moment, we were both at the Democratic debate in the spin room with Governor Newsom. Carla Marinucci of Politico put out this clip of the governor. Here's what he had to say.
They're not serious about this issue. They're playing politics with it. Expect nothing but mishigas. Expect nothing but division.
So that's the governor talking about homelessness. He's saying that the Trump administration could do more in terms of vouchers for homelessness and help out California more. What's your response?
Yeah, again, I don't know how our governor is able to push this issue off on our president. But again, if money solved the issue would be solved. How does our state and our city, even Los Angeles alone, spending over $600 million a year on the homeless problem, and it's gotten us nowhere? We've got shelter expansion projects that are costing in the tens of millions of dollars, and they're producing beds for 140 or less people. There's a problem here. There's mismanagement here. You can't blame the president for that. You are the governor. At the end of the day, California is your responsibility. The president has already said that if they ask nicely, he will help, but they're not asking nicely. They're passing the blame, and I'm sorry, that's not going to cut it.
So how do you solve it? How do you solve homelessness?
It's not something you can just solve. Again, there's a lot of contributing factors here, and you can't point to one thing and say, hey, that's the culprit. But as I just discussed, we're not spending money wisely. I'm wondering, and I've actually posed this question on Twitter as well, and I think that this is a bipartisan issue. We have to look at who is getting these contracts, who's getting these multi-million-dollar contracts from the government to create these shelters and these expansion programs. Where is that money going? And are those people that are getting these contracts, are they cozy with our politicians? That's something I want to look at.
Let's talk about some of the fun we like to have on this show. The name game, something I know you're especially good at. This is where we say one name of people in the news and get your quick reaction to them.
And you could probably get me in trouble, so I'm going to have to filter it a little bit.
That's where it's really fun.
Okay. Oh,
all right,
boy.
here we go. We start off with the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Badass.
The Governor of California, Gavin Newsom.
Great hair, horrible leader.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
She is the gift that keeps on giving.
Congressman, your congressman, Ted Lieu.
Well, failed leadership is what I would say. Look around. Take a look at California District 33, and I think you have your answer there.
A really handsome gentleman who happens to be your fiance, Brandon Fricky.
Well, he is my fiance, so I think that's a simple answer right there, my fiance.
And finally, Gloria Allred.
She's a very good dancer, and I'm excited to speak with her. At the end of the day, we might have differences, but she's a legend, so I'm happy to be here and be on the show with her.
How about that, right? She is a legend. All right, so let's do one more game. It's called Personal Issues. This is where we get to know a little bit about you. 30 seconds up on the clock, and we get to know some of your favorites. So here we go. What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, boy, in California? I'm going to have to go with, there's a restaurant in El Segundo called Sassel. It's a good Mexican spot.
Okay, New Year's resolution.
Trump 2020, baby.
Favorite president of all time?
This one. This one, that's easy. Look what he's done in such a short matter of time.
What's your dream vacation spot?
Dream vacation spot. You know what? Let's say I actually am quite fond of Tucson, Arizona, to be honest.
Favorite TV show?
The issue is.
Oh my God, look at that. You know, I'm just going to end on that. Let's end on that.
That's a good one,
So
right?
up next, the main event, Tomi, Gloria Allred together for the first time. Stay with us. More of The Issue Is right after this. You ready? You ready for this, Gloria?
Ready to go.
All right, here we go. The biggest story of this week, President Trump authorizing the killing of a top Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani. The president saying he took action to stop a war, not to start a war. So where do we go from here? Back with our panel for this week, Gloria Allred, Tomi Lahren back. Now they're together for the first time and clearly matching. I think you guys called each other in advance, right? As part of your...
I definitely have Gloria's number, and we coordinated this.
I think you hit her up in the DMs.
Yeah, the DMs,
yes.
for sure.
All right. Let's begin, though, with a pretty serious topic. Gloria, are you concerned about the unintended consequences when it comes to this Iran action?
Yes, Alex, actually, I'm concerned about both the intended and unintended consequences and also the motive for doing it. I have a lot of questions, of course, with the more than 10,000 lies that President Trump is documented to have told. One has to wonder, what's the truth here? What's the reason? Is he, for example, trying to change the narrative from the impeachment to a war? I hope not, because he's got to respect our members of the armed services and not put their lives at risk, especially if the reason is not the true reason for doing so.
Tomi?
If I'm hearing this correctly, you'd say that we're trying to distract from an impeachment. I think quite the opposite. President Trump hopes that we talk about impeachment because it's only doing great things for his fundraising and for his reelection effort. But we talk about this. You and I can actually probably agree on something, is that I don't like endless wars either. I think that Trump was right to pull troops out of Syria. I think that that was the correct move. But here we are put in a situation where we were clearly being the victims of aggression, and Iran's been getting more and more and more aggressive. As a president of the United States, unlike President Obama, instead of sending a plane full of cash, we're going to say this doesn't cut it, the buck stops here. So again, I think that it is an incredibly volatile time, but I think this president acted responsibly, and I think that if President Obama had done this, I think the left would be applauding it.
Well, obviously, you believe in just about anything that comes out of President Trump's mouth. You do not believe in the thousands of lies that he has told that have been documented. Obviously, the truth is really a casualty where it comes to Trump, but you don't agree with that. If he says jump, you say how high. That is what I'm concerned about. This is putting us on the brink of war if, in fact, it is not an act of war, which many people say it is. And why didn't he consult with congressional leaders in the Democratic Party? Why do only Republicans know about this when the lives of both Democrats and Republicans are going to be put at risk if we have to go to war?
And again, I don't think that this was an action that he took lightly. I think when our embassy is being threatened...
How would you know that? You don't know that.
Well, I know that he respects our military, and I know that he has been calculated. He hasn't put us in endless wars. He campaigned on getting us out of endless wars. I don't think this president wants to go to war. But unlike President Obama and Hillary Clinton, he's not going to leave our personnel over there being attacked, having people chant death to America. You can't reason with people that are chanting death to America and want to wipe the United States and Israel and a number of other places off the face of the earth.
He respects our military so much that he tried to and did get out of serving in the military. So please, don't tell me about how much he respects the military.
I think the military would disagree with you there. Actually, many of them are big proponents of this president.
One of the comments getting a lot of attention on social media was something that Rose McGowan said. Let's put this up. She said that we're being held hostage by a terrorist regime. We do not know how to escape. Please do not kill us. That's what she was saying to the people of Iran. Tomi responding there. What did you make of that comment?
It's amazing that President Trump, by his actions, has made Democrats defend Iran, a murderous regime and a regime that's been oppressive not only to women but to their own people. But again, the Democrats are coming out of the woodwork to defend Iran now. And that tweet, I don't care if you like President Trump, you hate President Trump, it doesn't matter. When you're defending a nation like Iran, there's a serious problem here. That is Trump derangement syndrome at its finest.
It's not about the name calling. It's about, is this going to be war? I questioned whether we should be going to war and what were the real reasons that we were going to war in Iraq. And now here we are again. We need to question and not just walk blindly into that dark night.
Right. Tomi?
I do have a question for Gloria, though, because I know that you mentioned your shero is Hillary Clinton. She did a very interesting thing in Libya with Gaddafi. I'm wondering if you support that, because there are a few people that are as war hawkish as Hillary Clinton and others within the Democratic Party, and I'm wondering if you would support a President Hillary if she'd made the same move. She did a very similar action in Libya.
What, declared war?
No, she took out a major
no,
leader.
She didn't. You know what?
Regime change
Hillary
war.
Clinton subjected herself to hours and hours, I think 11 or 12 hours of congressional questioning, and they found nothing wrong
Except for
that she
death
did.
of Americans.
Unfortunately, President Trump will not subject himself to questioning.
Let's talk about impeachment, though. You brought up the issue of impeachment. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi should submit the articles to the Senate?
I think she will at some point. The only question is when. We're not interested in a sham trial. We're not interested where there are no rules that make any sense, where there is no evidence that is presented, where no witnesses are presented. The question is, why is President Trump stonewalling?
But when we're talking about a sham trial, I think it's very interesting because this whole thing has been a sham. And again, President Trump has said numerous times, read the transcripts, decide for yourself. And then if you want to go into an election year and you decide that President Trump did something you're uncomfortable with, that's fine. But
couldn't he do more than read the transcripts? I mean, can't we actually talk to the people that were in on the call? That's what they're asking for.
And if this goes, if Nancy would send it over, then I look forward to Hunter Biden. I look forward to Joe Biden having to take the stand.
If Hunter Biden and Joe Biden testify, you think Mick Mulvaney and Pompeo should testify as well?
I think that would be fair, but I don't think you're ever going to see a Joe or Hunter.
Well, coming up next, we're going to try something a little different. Have each of them ask a question of each other, which is kind of cool. What would be the one question you have for each other? As you think about that, we want to let you know that we've got a podcast, which we encourage you to check out. We have interviews with Gloria and Tomi as part of that, and all of our guests, a lot of digital extras. Just search for The Issue Is wherever you stream. And you can also log on to our new website, theissueisshow.com. Send us an email, theissueis@foxtv.com. We'll be right back with their questions for each other when we come back. And maybe some dancing, who knows? Welcome back to The Issue Is. Last segment, Tomi Lahren, Gloria Allred together. We're trying something different, giving each of you an opportunity to ask one question of the other person. Tomi, let's start with you. Your question for Gloria.
Sure. I have a lot of questions, but because I am sitting across from a legend, and I do mean that even though we disagree on almost everything.
You mean Alex?
Yeah.
Alex is a legend, too.
Okay.
But, you know, you're a legend, and obviously I grew up knowing who you were and following your work. So my question would be, from a nonpartisan standpoint, what is your advice to a young woman who's obviously in a public field, in a public career, and dealing with it all?
Be prepared with the facts, then reach your opinion, be confident in what you say, as you are, and just be strong. And that's what you are.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And Gloria, your question for Tomi?
All right, Tomi. Of the thousands of documented lies that Trump has told, are there any that bother you? And if so, which ones?
You know, I don't, of the thousands of documented lies, I think included in there are how many scoops of ice cream and other things that are nonsensical like that. But, you know, there are things that this president has done that I'm not in favor of, and I'm pretty vocal about it when that happens. However, I do think he's doing great things for this country. So,
which lies? Do you believe everything he's ever said, or any of them lies?
Well, I think sometimes he exaggerates the crowd size at an inauguration here and there.
And that's it? Is that the only lie?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to know which lie you're referring to.
Well, I'm referring to any open-ended question.
Apparently, this just became a cross-examination of Gloria Allred. Well, you both will agree on one issue, that of choice. Tomi's been very vocal about her support for being pro-choice, and so I think you both can find some agreement on that issue as well. Yeah.
There we go. There's always something, right? There's
Yes.
always one thing that links everybody together.
And that's a very big issue.
I know.
Especially this year, 2020, and especially if President Trump, God forbid, has the opportunity to appoint anyone else to the United States Supreme Court to any vacancy.
Well, let's end with some fun. Gloria, there's a great documentary about Gloria if you want to know more about her story, including a lot more about the issue of choice. It's called Seeing Allred. And in the credits of that film, we see Gloria dancing with drag queens dressed as Gloria in the West Hollywood gay rights parade. including some Supreme Court justices. She goes down the street with her song, Gloria. And so this has got to be a lot of fun, right?
It is. I've been in it every year for more than 40 years.
Wow. And so I thought, you're here. Tomi's already asking to learn from you.
Okay.
Can you teach us your move? Can we go out to your move?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Show us, Gloria. Here we go. What is it? It's a lot of arm. There we go.
Okay.
There it is. Well, that's something you won't get on any other show. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week. Gloria, come on. Here we go. There we go, Tomi. All right. That's it.